For years, he was the star of Barcelona. But one day, he left, silently. No fight, no farewell, just a deep heartbreak. And now we know, this story wasn't what it seemed. Lionel Messi's departure from Barcelona was not only one of the most shocking moments in football history, but in all of sports. Yet behind the tears and headlines lay a deeper, more fragile truth. Messi felt like he had been cast out from his home. And this story had been unfolding long before the world noticed. In the year 2000, a 13-year-old boy stepped off a plane from Argentina to Spain. Small, quiet, but with a touch on the ball that silenced the world. The club's executives believed in him, but there was no time to draft an official contract. Messi's Barcelona story began with a hastily written agreement scribbled on a napkin at a restaurant table. That napkin would go on to change the fate of a club, the identity of a child, and the heart of a city. In his early years, Messi was quiet. He spoke through football. Under Pep Guardiola's philosophy, Messi didn't just become Barcelona's central figure, he became the epicenter of world football. Golden Boots, Ballon d'Ors, Champions League trophies, each success felt like another chapter in a fairy tale. But there were cracks in the story that no one could see. Inside the club, tensions grew with the arrival of Neymar, the departure of Ronaldinho, and the crisis involving Ibrahimovic. Messi's relationships with both the technical staff and club management were tested. The major turning point came in 2014 when Josep Bartomeu took over as club president. Under the new administration, Messi was no longer just a player, he was a marketing tool. But for Messi, the club wasn't a business, it was a bond. In the summer of 2017, Neymar left for PSG in a record-breaking transfer. Messi hadn't approved the deal, he'd even tried to persuade Neymar to stay. But the club leadership saw financial opportunity. For Messi, it felt like betrayal. Then came a string of managerial changes, from Valverde to Setién to Koeman, each more uncertain than the last. Messi was no longer consulted. Once the team had been built around him, now he was a shadow in the room. By the summer of 2020, the crisis could no longer be hidden. Messi formally requested to leave the club via burofax, a legal notice that shook the footballing world. He said, "I no longer feel happy here." But the club refused to release him, citing contractual obligations. That summer, Messi went silent. No press conferences, no social media. A growing sadness clouded even his on-pitch performances. Messi was still wearing the Barcelona shirt, but spiritually, he had already departed. In 2021, La Liga's financial rules made it impossible to renew his contract. Everyone thought the club would find a way. But instead, Messi was called to a press conference. The room was silent. Messi cried. "I didn't want to leave," he said. Rumors soon emerged, certain people within the club had already accepted his departure. They wanted a new era, one without Messi. And in the end, they got what they wanted. Messi moved to Paris. A new jersey, a new city. But neither the press conferences nor the stadium cheers could replace what Barcelona had meant to him. Because Messi wasn't just made in Barcelona, he was Barcelona. He left behind millions of broken hearts, a silenced stadium, and words left unspoken. This wasn't just a contract termination. It was the end of a loyalty, of a lifelong love, of a shared identity. And now, as years go by, the documents, the revelations, the subtle details bring the truth into light. Messi didn't leave Barcelona by choice. He was silently pushed out after his departure from Barcelona. The world witnessed not just a transfer, but the closing of a legendary era. The plane that landed in Paris that morning carried not only Messi but the unresolved emotions of millions of fans. His move to PSG wasn't a new beginning. It was the absence of belonging. He was welcomed to Parc des Princes with applause. But it wasn't the same. In Barcelona, applause meant love. In Paris, it was admiration, polite, distant. And for the first time in his life, Messi wore a jersey that didn't feel right. Throughout the 2021 season, he played in numerous matches for PSG, assisting and scoring goals. But statistics couldn't capture what was missing. On the pitch, Messi was present, but emotionally, he was detached. His expression was often vacant. Cameras caught him walking off the field with his head down. French media headlines read, "Where is Messi?" But no one truly grasped what he had lost. Even the team dynamic was unfamiliar. Neymar was an old friend, but the atmosphere was different. Mbappé was young, ambitious, and PSG's new poster boy. Messi's leadership role was unclear. Coaches tried different tactics, placing Messi in unfamiliar positions. For the first time, he felt like a stranger within a team. The challenges went beyond football. His wife Antonella and their children struggled to adapt to life in Paris. Their hearts remained in Catalonia. The schools, the language, their neighborhood, all were back in Barcelona. Even the view from their apartment balcony couldn't replace the memories. It was said Messi would sometimes stare at photos of Camp Nou at night, lost in thought. This emotional gap bled into his social media. In the early months of his Paris stay, Messi posted more memories from Barcelona than from PSG. Fans noticed, commenting, "Your body may be in Paris, but your soul is still in Barca, Leo." By 2022, his form had slightly improved, but criticism didn't fade. Some PSG fans began booing him during matches. This had never happened before in his career. After years of adoration in Barcelona, the cold response in Paris left unseen scars. Despite his teammates' support, Messi couldn't help but mention Barcelona in every interview. In March 2022, he said, "Barcelona is my home. I'll never be able to cut that connection." The statement reignited hope among Barca fans. Hashtags like #ComeHomeLeo trended. A campaign to erect a new Messi statue outside the club headquarters gathered momentum. Messi remained silent. But silence, sometimes, is the loudest message. Every day at PSG seemed to bring him closer emotionally to Barcelona. Each match reinforced the feeling, he didn't belong. By 2023, his contract was nearing its end. Rumors of a reunion with Barcelona gained strength. Club insiders hinted at a special return plan. But a comeback wouldn't be simple. The pain from that farewell press conference still lingered. His tears weren't just for saying goodbye, they were for betrayal. And no one knew if he had truly forgiven. By the summer of 2023, the world once again had its eyes on Messi. But this time, it wasn't for a final, it was the edge of a new beginning. His contract with PSG had ended. For many, his time in Paris had been a mere interlude in his career. But for Messi, it had only intensified his desire to return to Barcelona. In early June, headlines in Catalonia blazed, "Is Messi coming back?" Joan Laporta spoke cautiously, yet hopefully. The club faced financial hurdles, but Messi's return would be more than a sporting decision, it would be an emotional homecoming. Jorge Messi, Lionel's father, was seen entering the Barcelona headquarters. He gave a brief statement. "Leo has always loved Barcelona. He wanted to return. But it's not entirely in our hands." All eyes turned to La Liga. Messi's salary risked breaching financial fair play regulations. The club explored alternative options, sponsor-supported payments, modified contract structures. Time was running out, and Messi needed to decide. He longed to return. So did Antonella. Their children missed their school friends, the Catalan language, and life in the city. But within the club, not everyone supported his return. This time, Messi wasn't just facing regulations, but also quiet resistance from inside. Then, a surprise announcement, Messi was joining Inter Miami. When the news broke, the football world was stunned. Why Miami, many asked. The answer was simple, yet profound. Because he no longer just wanted football. He wanted peace. In the final years of his career, Messi sought calm. The American lifestyle, education, reduced media pressure, it all drew him in. But no matter how far he went, his connection to Barcelona remained. In 2024, Camp Nou planned its grand reopening. A special guest was invited, Lionel Messi. As he stepped onto the pitch, the stadium erupted. Messi didn't cry, but his eyes said everything. He now knew, he had never truly left. He had only been away. At the ceremony, he said, "Barcelona is my life. I grew here, I loved here, I cried here. And I will always be here." With that, millions of hearts found closure. The Messi Barcelona story wasn't unfinished, it was a bond deepened by time. He continued to play in Miami, but often returned to Barcelona. As a club legend, he joined events, mentored youth players. His presence lingered in La Masia's walls like a sacred echo. Now, looking back, one truth remains clear. Messi never truly left Barcelona. He merely took a detour, one that healed a broken heart. This story proved that football is more than a game. It's about loyalty, belonging, loving despite betrayal, and finding your way back. And perhaps, it's best summed up in one final line. Some farewells are only meant to lead to a reunion.